Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett of Texas. Congressman, it's good to have you with us. I just want to pick up where Sarah and Pete left off there. If we talk about what happened at LaGuardia, I know you have been pushing for years and raising concerns about staffing for air traffic controllers. They're getting paid right now, but has enough been done at this point, based on as well what we know about what happened in these early stages of the investigation at LaGuardia? Is enough being done across the country to shore up that staffing? It's been so hard to get people to take those jobs and get them trained and up to speed in time.
No, not enough is being done. And of course, as you'll recall, until the tragedy in Washington over the Potomac, President Trump and his DOGE approach was actually to cut the Department of Transportation in this area. We lost some of our supporting staff that they did actually eliminate and then restored them. But we need more air traffic controllers. In my hometown of Austin, we're at half of what we need. I've been demanding this going back actually to the Biden administration, but we've not gotten the help from the Trump administration we need to have an adequate supply of air traffic controllers. And then this finding that you've just reported on of not having a transponder on a moving vehicle across a runway is really troubling. I think every airport is going to have to evaluate what they're doing, and if there's anything moving on a runway, it certainly needs to be connected to the communication system for the tower.
Yeah, questions about why that transponder was not on that fire truck so that they could see it. When we look at where things stand with airports today, a major focus, as you know, on the fact that TSA is not getting paid right now. We see the wait times for passengers. We hear from people who are directly impacted. In terms of this potential proposal, which the president is apparently not a fan of, how long are Democrats willing to hold out here? How long can TSA workers continue not to get paid? They're facing their second now missed paycheck, full paycheck.
Well, this is an outrageous situation. These TSA officers should be paid today. That's what we Democrats have been asking for, straight up and down votes on paying the TSA officials. We've already lost 400 of them that have quit as a result of this tragedy. The real problem we have here is not any different than Trump's reckless war in Iran, or his denial of health care to millions of Americans, or the brutality of ICE. Our Republican colleagues cannot do anything without Trump's blessing, and he refuses to bless this deal. That's the core of the problem. He actually, a day or two ago, said he wouldn't approve any deal unless he got his legislative proposal to disenfranchise millions of Americans from the upcoming election. And my guess is that after his loss last night in the legislative district that represents Mar-a-Lago, he'll be pushing that even harder, that the only way he and Republicans can prevail in the fall is if they eliminate a good portion of the electorate. I'm concerned about the TSA situation, these huge lines and inconvenience and the hardship on the TSA officers, but we've got to have the president support this before we can get the proposal adopted, unless a couple of courageous Republicans will step out and support our proposal to pay TSA now.
I just spoke with Sarah Nelson, who's the president of the Flight Attendants Association, and she expressed to me very clearly politicians need to get on board, no matter which side of the aisle they're on. She says this is a national security risk, and this is frankly what our CNN teams have been hearing at airports across the country. They don't really care if there's a D or an R next to your name. They just want this taken care of. Do you agree with Sarah Nelson that this is in fact a national security risk?
Well, I did not see that at the Austin airport or at the Washington, D.C. airport, Reagan, when I was here last week leaving Washington. But certainly when you have lines 4 or 5 hours, perhaps there's a rush and the danger that something will slip through. My concern is the hardship on both the traveler and the hardship on the TSA officer, and that if President Trump would get involved and support an agreement to fund TSA, we could get this done immediately. We certainly shouldn't be leaving Washington for 2 weeks without resolving this problem.
And that was my next question, so thank you for thinking of and answering it. Congressman Lloyd Doggett, appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you.